Inshallah, today's topic is going to be on time. Now, the reason why I'm going to be doing this topic is because it's a very important topic. It's a very crucial topic. Only because we've got to ask ourselves, what do we consume our time with? What do we fill our time with when we have some spare time? We've got to evaluate it. Do we use our time most productively as possible? So here's a question. When we've come back from school and we've had a long day, it's been scorching hot outside, we couldn't be bothered with dealing with class from 9 till 3 or 4. When we come after that type of day, what's the first thing we do? Take off our clothes, we change to something more comfortable, eat some food, then what? We put our feet up, we probably watch some TV. Now, for the ones of you who don't go to mosque, this can potentially lead from 4 o'clock till 10 o'clock. 6 hours. 6 hours of TV. Alternatively, there's nothing decent on, there's nothing good on, none of your programs are on, everything's just reruns. Then sometimes you could resort to computer games. Again, same time. You could have a mix of different activities. You could have some TV, you could have some computer games. You might go out and chill with your friends. Now, chilling with friends can manifest itself in different ways. You could just be chilling with them, standing around doing nothing, which from my perspective I always find it weird, seeing 4 group of guys doing nothing, just standing and looking in the blank sights. Alternatively, what you might be doing is sports. Alternatively, some of you might be going out for the latest footwear. So trainers, whether that's tops, bottoms, etc. Or gadgets even. You could be going out for cinemas, and cinemas on average, the average movie runs for 2.5 hours, right? So here's a follow-up question. We've identified what we do in our leisure time, yeah? We identify what we do in our spare time. Do any of these activities do anything for us in the akhirah? No, isn't it? None of these things gain reward. None of these things gain us good deeds. These are mubah actions. So long as what you're doing with watching TV isn't anything suitable, any foul language, any disgusting talks. It's just innocent stuff, whether that's news, whether that's children's cartoons, whatever it may be. So long as that's halal, then it's mubah. Computer games, same thing. Chilling with friends, so long as you're not chilling with friends, and some friends may be chilling with girls, some friends may be doing drugs, etc. So long as you're not doing it, again, all of these things are mubah. What do mubah actions do for you in the akhirah? Do they gain any reward? No, they actually gain nothing. Now if they gain nothing, when we're on the Day of Judgment and we have a scale, and this is our good deeds, this is our bad. What do you think the scale will look like if all that we've been adding on the scale is 0? Because all we've been consuming our time with is mubah actions. And on the off chance when we've made a mistake and we've sinned, this has been building. If this builds, what happens to the scale? The scale bad deeds go up, or weighing heavy, and the good deeds weigh less. Will we be successful if we consume our time with mubah actions? No, isn't it? And this draws upon the lesson from a youth session that we did last term on the definition of success. Now, we identified what this society defines as success, and we identified that ultimate success in the sight of Allah is attaining Jannah. But how do we attain Jannah? In the Qur'an, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to recite Surah Al-Mu'minun, verse 1 to 11, and then after that, after I've recited it all, I will break it down and I will go through what Surah Al-Mu'minun is talking about, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us through Surah Al-Mu'minun. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ إِلَّا عَلَى أَزْوَاجِهِمْ أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ غَيْرُ مَلُومِينَ فَمَنِ ابْتَغَى وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَئِكَ هُمُ الْعَادُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَى صَلَوَاتِهِمْ يُحَافِظُونَ أُولَئِكَ هُمُ الْوَارِثُونَ الَّذِينَ يَرِثُونَ الْفِرْدَوْسَ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. And this was Surah Al-Mu'minun, mashallah. We'll go these off. Now in Surah Al-Mu'minun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about how a person attains success. And the term that he uses to define success is aflaha. The root word of aflaha is falah. And some mufassirin have said that falah means farmer. Now why has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used the term farmer in this ayah? Some mufassirin has said, and mufassirin are people who discuss and teach about the Qur'an in terms of its explanation, what its meaning, what it's trying to say to the believers of Allah. That a farmer, imagine a farmer, he's constantly working, he constantly harvesting his crops. Imagine he took a week off. Can a farmer do that? No, because if a farmer took a week off, his crops will not bear any harvest. He won't get any vegetables, any fruits. If he left his animals for a week, his farm animals, like the sheep, like the cows, do you think that they will remain alive if they had no access to food? No, of course not. The chickens, of course not. So the thing is, he's constantly having to work. He's constantly having to persevere and work hard in order to have some food for him and his family, and then for him to be able to sell some of it to acquire some wealth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings attention to the believer of this analogy to explain that similar to a farmer, a believer has to constantly be working, has to be constantly in pursuance of the worship of Allah, constantly have to be on the path of Allah. This is how he attains success. Now the following ayah, it talks about salah. And it talks about salah from the perspective of having khushu in your salah. Now khushu means tranquility, calmness, peace of mind, happiness. Right? Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the following ayah that a person who has khushu in his salah, this is the recipe, an aspect of the recipe for success. But here's a question. How many of us attain khushu in our salah? Because a lot of us, imagine, it's come to a season where it's very hot. You go to the masjid. Even during Isha Salah, the masjid is boiling hot. Especially if you go to places like Masjid Umar. I went there and it was boiling, it was hot. I was struggling. In that scenario, in that situation, it's difficult to attain khushu. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that a person who attains khushu is the one who is successful. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say in the following ayah? He talks about, now there's some ayah that talks about what will attain us success, and there's other ayahs that will tell us what will make us unsuccessful. And one of the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala highlights is that if you engage in idle talk is foul language, dirty talk, useless talk that has no benefit. If you constantly engage in that, then this will not attain success in the akhirah. Why? Because imagine, you talk about football, you talk about Liverpool, Arsenal, talking about this thing, would it benefit either one of you in the akhirah? No. So these kind of talks, does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encourage you to do these kind of talks? No, actually, in the Qur'an, in Surah Mu'minun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the one who engages himself in idle talk will be ones who are not successful. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say in the following ayah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about zakat. Now it's strange because when he talks about zakat in this ayah was revealed in Mecca. But the obligation of zakat was only mandated in Medina. So why is the subject of zakat being spoken about? It's being spoken about because linguistically zakat means purification. Zakat purifies a person's wealth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that the one who is charitable will attain success. Now a lot of us, especially in today's time, a lot of people are stingy. A lot of people only care about themselves. If they have a £10 note, they think, oh, should I give that in charity or should I have it for myself or a dam kebab? They think about their own selves before they think about anybody else. But what they fail to realize is that when it comes to the provisions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon us, even if we give something in charity, our provisions don't decrease. If we were desiring dam kebab, we will get that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed. So giving a £10 note in charity does not decrease that. If anything, it increases your provisions. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that when you give charity, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increases your rizq. The following ayah, ayah 5 and 6, it talks about being chastity. And chastity is basically being pure from any haram with the opposite gender. And I won't go into detail about this, but it focuses on this. And inshallah, when you get a bit older, and for the older lots, we'll discuss this on a one-to-one basis, or what it means by this. Ayah 7, responsibility. Now, the thing is, this society, it doesn't encourage children to be responsible. They teach that, you know what, you're a kid, have fun, let loose, live your life. No responsibility whatsoever. And what we see in the habits of people is that when someone is given a secret to keep, they expose that secret. They tell people that secret. If people are given a trust, i.e. they promise to do something, they break that promise. And do you know what the scary thing is? These are attributes of a hypocrite. And a hypocrite, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us that they will be in the lowest level of Jahannam, the worst position in Jahannam, the lowest, worst position in Jahannam. And the thing is that this should strike fear in us, because we don't want to be hypocrites. We don't want to have any signs of hypocrisy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us in the following ayah of keeping salah within its time. Now, I've come across a lot of people who delay the salah till the last minute. I've come across people who have missed the salah thinking that they can redo the salah after the time has passed. This is not true. And what you find is that people who are very lazy in the salah, in the isha and in the fajr salah, again, these are signs of hypocrisy. Again, this should strike fear in us that, do you know what? We need to do our utmost best to distance ourselves from this category of hypocrisy. This reminds me of a scenario where the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam received revelation on who the hypocrites were during his time, and Umar bin al-Khattab was running to the guy who knew of this, about the list, about the names on the list, and he was inquiring about whether he was on the list. Can you believe that? That Umar bin al-Khattab, who the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if there was a prophet after me, it will be him. That on two accounts, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala confirmed the opinion of Umar bin al-Khattab to be the correct opinion. That he himself was worried that he was a hypocrite. Look at the humility of Umar bin al-Khattab. Look at the humbleness of Umar bin al-Khattab. Look at the purity of Umar bin al-Khattab. And the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he advises the believers that, you know what, a person who is concerned of being a hypocrite, this is a sign that he is not a hypocrite. And a person who thinks that he is safe, this is a sign that he has hypocrisy in his heart. Now, the later ayah, it talks about, in ayah 9, it talks about inheritance. Now, I don't know if you guys know what inheritance means. Inheritance is basically when, for example, if your parents pass away and they've accumulated wealth, that wealth will go to you. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the believers in this ayah that the good deeds that you earn in the dunya, the reward is yours in the akhirah. You will inherit the reward in the akhirah. So the hard-earned deeds that you accumulated will be for you. Normally, when we earn hard-earned cash or wealth, it's left for somebody else. But in this instant, we benefit from it. Look at the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look at the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then, as a result of that, we will have Jannah for those. And you know what? You know, sometimes when we're asking dua Allah, we're beseeching Allah, sometimes we say, oh, Ya Allah, please help me with my exam. Ya Allah, please help me get some money. Ya Allah, please help me get some nice clothes. Ya Allah, please, I want some food. Ya Allah, X, Y, Z. Right? While these are okay, if I were to ask Ibrahim for some money, like a tenner, I can trust that, Ibrahim might have a tenner for him to lend to me. But if I were to ask Sadiq for a tenner, he'd be like, bro, I don't even have 10p. You have to ask people based on their capabilities. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capable of everything. So then why not ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for Jannah Firdaus, the highest level of Jannah Firdaus, next to the kursi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being in the company of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So this is what we should aim for. We should aim for the highest. When we make dua for Allah, we make dua for that biggest thing. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, that for the believers will reside in Al-Jannah Firdaus for eternity. Subhanallah.